Take a breath, step outside.
Okay, good evening to everybody. Thank you all for being here this evening, and thank you to all of our traditional caretakers of these lands, the pueblos that live around us in Santa Fe, and also the ancestors and where you come from as well. Always Indigenous Ways is dedicating to bridging cultures globally, and that's what this platform is for. And we're very blessed tonight to have Joshua, who hails from the Navajo Nation, and he is a very, very talented and gifted artist, traditional singer. He's a lot of things, and tonight he's going to share some of his essence with us. And our theme is rising in resilience in these times during the pandemic. How do we stay strong? How do we keep our spirits up and not let all of this stuff bring us down? So thank you very much, Joshua, for being with us tonight. And Bushte, everybody, say hi to Joshua. Yeah.
Oh, oh.
So, good evening, everybody. My name is Joshua Dixon. Kash che'e'en shlon aro to'hegli ni e bashishchin ye itene etkachi ni e dashe aro tkapaha e dashenale aron le duji bakot kahilent a yesi den nasha akot a e yatanen shle. And to translate that into English, I just said that, well, I began by introducing myself, which is by saying my clan, and that is Kashche. And I also said my father's clan, as well as my grandfather's clan and my father's clan. Also, I am originally from a place called Montezuma Creek. The name in Navajo actually means like where all the, let's see, what's it mean? Where all the bushes go join into the river or something like that. But that, anyways, that's in Utah, Utah on the Navajo reservation. And I also concluded by saying that all of that is how I am Navajo. That all makes me Navajo. And I say that because that kind of just ties myself to my relatives out there, whoever is related to me, whoever is, my same clan or whatever other clan there is, just establishing that relationship to other people. I'll also, let's see. So that's who I am. That's where I'm from. Those are my clans. I am from the Navajo reservation, and I am part of the Navajo tribe. And I was asked to do this wisdom circle, and so I think I can probably, I'll begin by singing a few songs. And then also what I wanted to do too with this is I wanted to kind of share my story and how I learned the culture, how I learned some of the songs that I know, and share that with other people. So hopefully it motivates other people to do the same thing. And I'll get into that later. However, for now, I can probably sing a song. I actually don't have a drum or anything. So I kind of just use whatever I have around. This is what I use for my pottery when I do my pottery. That'll kind of provide enough enough of that bass or something in there. But anyways, so I'll begin with a song, and then I'm gonna get into talking about just my story a little bit. All right. So this song is a corn grinding song, and this song is very rhythmic. So the reason why it's like this is because when the women are grinding corn, you know, it's a really laborious process. It takes a lot of work to grind corn. If you have ever ground it, what they use is they use 2 stones and they grind it like this, and they have to push in all their weight back and forth, and it's, especially during like a ceremony time, it takes a lot of work to get all the corn ground. So these songs are meant to accompany those chores, those work activities, to make it easier to kind of, you know, get the work done and stuff like that. So that's just what I tell people, to remind them, you know, all of these songs kind of have a purpose and a context to why they're being sung. But since it's fall right now and it's corn is being harvested, I thought I'd sing this song for you guys. All right, so that was first set of corn grinding songs that I sing. You know, all of these songs can be sing for as long duration as is needed to get the corn grinding done. But a lot of these songs also, they throw in some lyrics, but a lot of it is vocables. So it's really good, you know, especially once you feel that rhythm, to kind of, you know, that's the best part of the song, is the rhythm. But once it gets more into the lyrics, I can translate a few more of that. But let me just get a quick glass of water here. All right. Hello, say, Westland. Hello, say, Westland. Oh, Westland. Hello, say, Westland. Oh, Westland. Oh, wait, ho, oh, hey, Westland. hey ya, hey ya, hey hey hey. Hello, say, hey, hey, what's it? Hello, say, hey, hey, what's it? No, what's it? Hello, say, hey, hey, what's it? No, what's it? Oh, wait, ho, oh, oh, hey, 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 what's it? Hey ya, hey ya, hey hey hey. Oh, hey, ho, oh, oh, hey, 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 what's it? Hey ya, hey ya, hey hey hey. Hang ai hang ai ai hang ai ai oh up a mo oh away show away hang ai ai oh up a mo away show away hang ai ai away up a mo away show away hey ya, hey ya, hey hey away from away show away hey ya, hey ya, hey hey Hastily go sadly go away young hey hastily go sadly go away young hey hey ya, hey ya, hey hey shate at that hey shate at that hey hey ya, hey ya, hey hey away from away show away hey away from away show away hey away from away show away hey ya, hey ya, hey hey away from away show away hey ya, hey ya, hey hey hastily gonna go away hey hastily gonna go away hey job take us hastily go away hey ya, hey ya, hey hey shate at that hey shate at that hey hey ya, hey ya, hey hey nah. So I really like those songs. I really like singing those songs a lot because when I hear those songs, I can usually there's a whole there's more people singing than just one person, and that way when everybody's singing all together, it really elevates the energy. And you could see in the beginning, I probably started off kind of quiet, but then by the end, I got louder. That's because you know, just remembering hearing it being sung and everything helps me sing it louder because there's usually a group of people singing it. But that song actually it says away away it's away, which is saying the baby's mom is talking to the baby. The mother is telling the mother that the baby's crying, because especially corn grinding was something that was done by women. So that's why it's saying that it's telling the mother that the baby's crying again. That's what away means baby, and yicha means it's crying. So that's really, there's all sorts of lyrics in there that are really interesting. You can really see the scene of what it looks like. So those are the corn grinding songs. I would sing dot songs, but it's kind of getting a little bit late for dot. Dot is what they sing during the summer. It's part of one of our summertime ceremonies that we have. And I know I have a lot of those songs that are on Facebook that people like to listen to. But what I wanted to do mainly with this time that I have here, I wanted to share a bit of my story, who I am, and how I came to learn the songs that I learned, because that's something that I get a lot of questions, and I think maybe sometimes people are, they're not used to seeing people my age singing songs like that, and they're not used to hearing people my age speaking Navajo, even though I can barely speak Navajo. I can speak it okay. Um, but what I wanted to do was just um, share that story a little bit, just to give some other people that might be my own age, or parents to people my own age, just a little bit of insight into how that process unfolded for me, so that maybe they can replicate something similar within their own life. Um, I will say that for me, I'm from the reservation. I grew up on the reservation. Um, I lived there all my life, from Montezuma Creek, Utah, and I guess that's kind of um, well, that's where I was born. But I grew up with my grandpa and my grandma, and I know that for me, I used to go down to my grandparents' house a lot, and that's where I was introduced to, my Navajo identity in a way. Because before that, I wasn't unlike a lot of other people my own age, meaning, I watched TV most of the time, played video games and all of that. I didn't um, I didn't really know what it meant to be Navajo, besides, just sometimes my mom would be talking to my grandma, sometimes I wouldn't understand what she's saying, you know. Just as simple as that is all I really was aware of. But um with my grandparents is really where I kind of and especially my grandpa, just spending time with him and asking him questions and things like that. He's the one who really taught me a lot about what it means to be uh, Navajo, and um, not even directly either. Too, just I think the way I learned most of the things that I did is I just asked him about how things were when he was young, and encouraged him to open up about that. Um, and I know a lot. I know what sets how I did that. I know what sets that apart from my siblings too, even, and a lot of other Navajo kids my own age is, you know, everybody wants to go run outside and play, and then, Grandpa will be in the corner of the table, coffee table, kitchen table, just talking. Nobody wants to have the patience to sit there, but I think that's where a lot of what I learned, and what I learned and where I learned a lot of the culture from, and just hearing those stories, and listening to my grandma too speak as well. And um, but what something else too I would like to say as well is, it wasn't easy, even though, like, there's people that are willing to speak up about the culture. I know that for myself, uh, a lot of there's a lot of barriers between, our younger generation and our culture, because, I don't think it's not that we don't want to learn our culture and to speak our language. It's also that there's a lot of shame too involved with the culture, and in learning the culture and stuff like that. And so, for me, that's really what I had to overcome in a lot of ways, is to overcome a lot of the shame and like feeling embarrassed to speak the language and feeling embarrassed to sing the songs. And you know, a lot of that, I think, has to go back to, you know, I attribute a lot of that to like probably boarding school is where like a lot of shame was learned, going back to our grandparents and then on to our own parents and then finally with our generation. But anyways, you know, a lot of that can get pretty heavy, and so I don't want to spend too much time in talking about that. But what I would like to say though is, even though I encountered a lot of those things in my own life, I think what really helped me move past that is just you know, I would say just kind of lost my train of thought here. I think just deciding for myself what I wanted in my own life in a way. And I think it's kind of difficult to really summarize right now, but just kind of I think what was most empowering for me is just realizing that, you know, a lot of the power when it comes to learning my own culture came from within myself. And I think the reason why I kind of was in tune with that is because, especially, you know, like with growing up being gay too on the reservation and being different in that way, I think what I really appreciated with my with who I am and in this and in what kind of life I want to live, what I really appreciated was just being able to be myself and being able to be who I am. And part of that meant embracing my Navajo culture and embracing my Navajo history and my history as a Native American person. For me, you know, I attribute that to, you know, ever since I was young, I was aware that I was different because I was gay, you know. And I think everybody has something like that that they can relate to, you know, feeling, you know, like they're, you know, something about them isn't, you know, it's hard for them to embrace at first and they feel like they can't be themselves. So for me, that was with, you know, just being gay and having to come out and do all of that. That's where I really embraced being who I was. And so just bringing that together with you know, and that didn't stop with just being gay. That was also, you know, my clan, which is Kashche, my Navajo clan, which goes to my mother and my grandmother. So all of that, embracing who I am as being Kashche, my clan, and being Navajo, and the history that that has with that, that's kind of what I developed an appreciation for that, and in being genuine and in being who I am. Um, And it's kind of hard, as far as embracing my own culture and embracing my own traditions and stuff like that, especially when I feel like we as a Navajo people have been so impacted, you know, by other influences, like, especially with boarding school and assimilation and all these outside influences that have tried to take that away from us. Going back to boarding school with the whole kill the Indian, save the man kind of mentality, people actually willingly fought to keep us from our own culture and from our own history. And that in turn affected, the Navajo people today. And so, as far as the challenges in being Navajo and embracing my culture, the sad thing about it is sometimes, some of the barriers that I had to overcome were from my own people, were from within my own culture, because of because of the shame that has been kind of, taught in our within our communities. And you know and definitely, even though I sing traditional songs and I sing I speak Navajo as much as I can, definitely that was something that, um that I experienced, even, from my own family unintentionally. I don't think we necessarily intend to do this, or to perpetuate those cycles, of shame. But what I find with, with people is that, whatever is learned to us in a way, especially when we're children, that affects us, and we pass that on to our own children a lot of times without, thinking about it too much. And so, especially when it goes back to our grandparents, and, when they were kids, what they experienced going to boarding school, boarding school didn't necessarily have to be a traumatic experience either. But I think a lot of the message that a lot of people learned, even if they weren't, being abused or anything in any way, is the message that a lot of people were taught still, is just that, Native American people, Indian people, we're not as civilized, we're not as good as other people. And so those kinds of things got passed on through the generations. And so sometimes when I would speak the language, or ask about certain questions and stuff like that, sometimes I would be discouraged or something to do that. But I think the reason, what was different with me, is that I understood that, and I understood that, especially if somebody's been hurt, they're gonna react, um, emotionally in a way. The response that they're gonna give you is gonna come from that pain, or come from whatever trauma was experienced or something. And so sometimes people can, you know, treat you in certain ways, but it's not necessarily their intention to do that. And I think I understood that from a really young age. And so that's why, even when I felt like I had no support in learning the culture and in learning the language and in learning the history, even when I felt like I was being discouraged to do that, I continued. And what I found is that, once you are yourself, and once you do something that is true to yourself and is true to who you are, then, and you own that, then nobody can nobody can tell you any different, basically. once you show that to somebody, then they'll see that's just, you know, you in a way, and that's just, you know, part of who you are. And so, like, you know, for me, you know, tying that together with the Navajo culture and the Navajo people and everything, that is kind of what I had to do in order to embrace my culture and embrace um, all of those all of those teachings and stories that my grandparents passed on to me. Um, and so anyways, that's just basically what I'm trying to get across here, is just like I think one of the things that I think is also um, an important lesson too for our native people and anyone out there really, is just to realize that, you know, there's so many issues around us that surround us, that is surrounding us, and there's so many problems, you know, that may be out there in the world. And and a lot of the times what we tend to do is we tend to, you know, assign blame to other things for for causing those issues and those problems. But I think there's where the power comes in is in like is what they say in Navajo, which means you know, if it's gonna happen, then you have to do it. So if what you want is to learn the Navajo language, or if you want to learn the Navajo culture, the Navajo songs, then that's why they say it's up to you to do that. And you know, in some ways it can feel kind of like that's putting all the pressure onto you. But if another way of seeing that is like is it's putting all the power into your hands. It's putting the it's giving you the power to have control over those situations, you know. And I think that's kind of, I guess that's kind of important too, to remember during these times, even during COVID and everything, with everything that's going on. It's just that, you know, um, it's just that we have the, you know, in a way we have, you know, control over what we can control. And everything beyond that is, you know, that's just what it's going to be in a way. Like like I was able to learn as much as I could um from what I could learn, and from what I couldn't learn, you know, if something was beyond what was within reach of the of the culture, then, you know, I didn't try to, you know, feel like it wasn't enough for me to learn that or something like that. And I think that, you know, especially uh, with just I'm not exactly sure what I was trying to say there. Um, but anyways, I mean, that's just the main thing about it, is just like, you know, um, just being yourself, and not um, not letting not limiting yourself in any way, and just allowing things to happen as they're gonna happen, and just um, live a good life with what you have and what you can control and what's in front of you. And then everything else beyond that, it's out of your control. It's just whatever it's gonna be. And um, you know, if something is, calling you, and if something is motivating you, then to just trust that in a way. Um, and yeah, that's just basically what I was trying to say. Let's see here. There's this funny song I heard on the radio one time. I never listened to KTNN too many times, but there's just one time I heard this song. Let's see if I can remember it. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, 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 yeah, yeah, when I yo, hey, hey, yeah, yeah, when I yo, hey, hey, yang ashki shananto yo hey yang ashki shananto yo hey yang haleti got Shanel ita yo hey yang ahyo when ahyo yo hey oh hey
All right, ahead. You
and
said, thank you.
that was
very much.
can I explain what that song said?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that song's kind of funny because I just sounded like some grandma singing that song, but they're talking about Shashki, see, Shannon. That means like I wanted you back, isn't it? Like, and then they also say which means like I guess she's wondering why he's not looking at her or something like that. I don't know direct translation, but it sounded funny to me. some Navajo lovesick song, I guess.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joshua. That was
Mm-hmm.
awesome. You've got a very, very beautiful aura and essence and story and voice, and you're so talented, and you're such a beautiful role model at IAIA and everywhere you go for the youthful people out there and the elders as well. And there's some questions that people want you to answer, but real quick, I'm going to do a commercial break and just let everybody know that our next event next week is going to be Lynn Dean, and she is a Navajo woman from Black Mountain, and she's going to share her life with us, and that's really beautiful. She's the one we've been meeting up at the Katsili Chapter House with all these drop-offs. She's a CHR worker, meaning Chinle Health worker, and she lives up there on the mountain right next to her traditional parents. And she went to school up at the Katsili school up there. So she's awesome. So we're really looking forward to Lindy next week. And of course, all of our virtual events are on the net, so you can always go to Indigenous Ways to check out our website. And for more information about Lindeen, go to indigenousways.org. as well as our wisdom circle presenters. So all our virtual events do have ASL interpreters, and they are free. So do let your people know, if you know any people that are from the deaf and hard of hearing culture, let them know to come on into this show as well. As always, we like to thank our sponsors. We would not be able to have this kind of support for this platform without, namely, National Endowment of the Arts, West Staff Cares, New Mexico Arts, New Mexico Humanities Council, and National Endowment of Humanities. So we'd like to thank our Indigenous Ways board members. They are awesome. We have the most amazing team. So thank you all. Thank you for believing in this platform and everything Indigenous Ways is about. Thank you for your input for everything. And also, we would not have been able to do the 4 runs up to Black Mountain without our individual donors from this platform. Thank you. Big heart out to you. And if you're looking at this live or watching the record, please be sure to like and subscribe to our social media pages, which are flashing at the bottom of the screen right down here. And we'd love for you to subscribe to our weekly newsletter at our website, IndigenousWays.org. And we'd love for you to share this recorded video with everybody, which will be available within the next 48 hours on our website. And you can also, we'll get that through YouTube, and eventually we'll be able to stream it through Facebook and all. We had some kind of technical glitch that is not our fault, so we'll look into that as well. There you will also find the last 49 Indigenous presenters and artists. And we're really excited for for our partnership with the Lensic Theater. There's a beautiful performance coming up with Keb Mo. He's won multiple Grammys, and the Lensic Theater is going to be collaborating with nonprofits in New Mexico to support them as well. So please buy your tickets for this as well. And they're $15 a ticket, and 100% of the proceeds will benefit the Lensic Theater, Indigenous Ways, and of course 3 other local nonprofit organizations. So we need to keep the Lensic alive and going. They've been, it's a big part of our Santa Fe art market and history. So other than that, we'd like for you to know that their donations are accepted. You can donate through PayPal, or you can go to IndigenousWays.org/donate. We also have a good old-fashioned postal address. And that's it. I'd like to tell everybody that wants to come in and ask questions to go ahead and unmute your camera. And then, of course, when you want to speak, just raise your hand or send a raise your hand icon through the computer, so we can take turns, and let's give the interpreters time to find out who's talking from all the multiple little screens that come in. So everybody come on in. And the first question that was asked is from Avril Cordova, is wanting to know, is there any advice you would give to youth about getting more involved with culture living in the big city? So that's a question. Joshua?
Living in the city. I would say, I think there's actually a lot that can be found within books. It's kind of hard when you're talking about different tribes, because I know with Navajo culture, there's a lot of books that were written about us and our culture, and even within our own people, that what they've written down. But like, books are a great resource. One thing I would caution people too is, like, if it's like an anthropological perspective, somebody outside the tribe, sometimes they can be, a little bit, I don't know, they kind of just talk crazy, or they don't understand a lot of things. So if it's some of those perspectives, I would at least take it with a grain of salt, or not listen to it too much. But the other thing I would say is just living in the city. just trying to talk to as many people as they can. I would think. I kind of grew up on the reservation, so that is mostly what I know. Um, but I did find a lot of information about, on culture through books, and especially with the Navajo tribe, we have a lot of resources through Diné College and a lot of the publications, especially Rough Rock Community School, what they did. So um, any kind of resources like that, don't brush those aside just because they're written and not spoken. You know, I know that with even our own Navajo people, there's a lot of elders back then who sought out anthropologists because they wanted to record these stories and record, some of these perspectives that they had. So there's some good teachings through that, but just also understand that, especially if an anthropologist wrote it down, understand that it's from their perspective and take that into account too as well. But yeah.
Iga, beautiful.
Thank you, Ta'a.
Oh, what language is that?
It's Taos Pueblo.
Oh, nice. Taos Pueblo.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to say any words tonight?
I guess if nobody else does, um, I want to thank you for sharing what you did. Especially young people who find themselves gay, it's very difficult. So I appreciate what you've done, and you've come to it early, and you're lucky that you did. There are people that I've known in life who have never come to terms with that. So thank you, brother, for doing that, because we need our gay brothers and sisters. You have a lot to tell us. And most people don't realize that because, oh, he's gay, she's lesbian. They got nothing to tell me. I'm so sorry, but I live in San Francisco. I'm around gay people all the time. And gay people have got so much to tell us, just as they probably have more to tell me than I have to tell them. I just want to tell you, young brother, thank you. And thank you for staying true and learning your culture. We need that because we need Indigenous people. Most people don't understand that. They have never understood that. I have. And we need you. We've always needed you. We just got our ears closed and our nose in the air and they're behind somewhere else. But that's why I love coming to this. This is always why I love being around Native people. They've always made more sense. I'm not trying to be ethnocentric here. It's just true. Thank you. And by the way, I've invited Dan Brady. He's a new guy here. He does Sacred Grounds. He's the host for poetry. We do music. So I'm trying to get people up here to learn about the people down there. And I want to have some interconnections because that's what this Zoom thing is supposed to be about. I want people up here to know Tosh, and I want them to know you and Elena and everybody that's in this Zoom. Why not? You know, that's where it's at. Us getting together, us learning together, us talking together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard, for your wise words. And I've got to just say a Denise Renee Lopez to everyone. Joshua, it was great to see such a young man with great insight. Thank you, Two Spirits. And then Avril Cordova, I follow you on Facebook and love your songs. And Brian, to everyone, and you, Joshua, tell about the story you wrote to a drawing on YouTube about the old woman who would not listen. How does that help to teach the youth today?
Oh, yeah, that is that one um that one's actually, yeah. So that one I wrote because it was in response to, at the time, there was a lot of people not taking the precautions surrounding COVID at the time. So I didn't write that, actually. That is from speaking about online resources or living in the city. There's a book. This is that book. So this is from Ashinabahanit, the Navajo children's literature, and it had that story in it. And I remember reading it in like elementary school, and I thought it had a lot of applications to today. Just like what did it say? It's like there's the lady, and like she's sitting there because she's so stubborn, and everybody's around her is like um trying to get clear the area because there's some, the enemies coming is basically the point of the story. And then she just sits there, continues grinding corn or whatever she's doing because she just thinks it's her nose that's whistling. And she says, she says, "I'll just leave me up. I'll stay here and you guys go run around or whatever." And she ends up getting killed because of that. And how I connect that to the youth today. Well, I originally wrote that just to kind of remind people in a way, just like speaking Navajo, for people to realize, like, that they need to be prepared for what's around them. They need to be aware of the situation around them. And like with that lady, she just didn't want to think about, having to get up and having to deal with the problems and deal with stuff as they're arising. But the reason why I shared that story on Facebook was because I wanted to people here in the Navajo language, how they need to be prepared for when the enemy's coming. And especially with Navajo people, we have the teaching where we like teach our children to get up in the morning when it's before the sun comes up. You have to get up, and you have to always, never be too comfortable where you're at. Well, you can be comfortable, but just teaching yourself that discipline to be able to leave the comfort of your bed and leave the warm bed and have to be chased out into the cold and all of that stuff. And especially early on with COVID, it was just that for a lot of people, it was just that they didn't want to have to adjust to the changes. And the reason why I shared that story was I was reminding people that, that, just to be disciplined and to within themselves to adjust to things and to constantly, um, kind of losing my train of thought here, but just to be prepared for life situations and not just I don't know, but I think I basically said what I was trying to say there.
That's great, Joshua. All right, well, we are at the top of the hour, everyone. And Joshua, you are such a beautiful man, and you caught my attention because your soft spokenness just says so much through your artwork. I'm going to encourage everybody to support Joshua in these times right now. And his Instagram can be accessed right here in the chat box. You can copy it and save it, and it's Instagram.com/shush_yaj. And it's right there. Means little bear in Navajo.
Mhm.
It's beautiful. I've seen Joshua's artwork, and I would like all of us to support him in any way we can, because he's a student. He's a student at IAIA, and he's got to buy art supplies. He's got to buy a lot of stuff to keep his art moment happening. So let's support Joshua, everybody, as best as we can, and let's keep following Joshua on Facebook and all the other social media sites. And Joshua, you're beautiful, and we're very, very proud to know you. And we're going to continue to support you and send prayers your way. Always, always, always. You take care, little brother. Atao hajogo. Take care. Yeah, everybody. Thank you all, and as always, thank our interpreters. Cress and Zoel, wonderful, wonderful job. Thank you, all of our people that keep coming back in, Christine and Donna, Arletta, Richard, all of you. Thank you. We love you. Until next week, take care, everybody. Peace and love. As we say. Take it easy, everybody.
See you next week.
Okay, I'm going to.
All right.
Bye, Mom. Bye, Harry.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Thank you, Joshua. Bye.
Touch the earth, touch the earth, touch the earth. Feel the rain. Touch the